Hello, everybody, and welcome back. This is the Overpower Mountain podcast, and I am your host, Marcel, the greatest Overpower player ever. I like to see you all here early. I like to see you all here rumbling in. This is exciting times in Overpower. Exciting times indeed. The meaning of anticipation. Anticipation is excitement, waiting eagerly for something you know that is going to happen. Anticipation, anticipation, anticipation. Whew. Wow. I'm excited. You're excited. Ralph Emerson, though, I think said it best. It's the journey, my friends. It's not the destination. I oft many times after Christmas Day opened all my gifts, started playing, and then, mid-afternoon came around, and I was like, man, I was really excited this morning. And I think right now we are all very excited. Trust me, when I say it doesn't get more palpable than this, well, we'll get into all of that quite soon. First, anyone who knows and watches the show knows that I always like to end the last episode off at the beginning of the first episode, so I don't cross hairs. Great amount of people entered for the Cthulhu Multi 5 foil draw. I actually misquoted myself when I look at how shiny that thing looks. We're all so excited for foils right now. How excited are you when your first foil pops out? I hope you have a case like this. Let me give you a little quick story. Since more people are rumbling in, and I'll just give you 2 seconds. I went to my local gaming shop here in Toronto, and I was buying hard cases and penny sleeves, getting ready for my breaking episodes. I want to do it like the pros, right? Local shop in town called 401 Games. I go there, and I'm having a hard time finding the hard cases. For some reason, they're behind the counter. I guess high theft item. And I go to buy some hard cases, and I go to the guy at the back of the counter, and I go, "Oh, I need a few of those." And he goes, "Oh, okay." And I grab as many as I need, and he goes, "What game do you play?" And I'm like, "Oh, here we go. This is the moment." And this guy's like mid-20s, right? So he's not going to know the game from when it was, unless he had some random way to go about it. And I go, "Oh, it's called Overpower. It's from the 90s. They're coming back. They just did a Kickstarter, but they just got a great IP." And in my mind, I'm like, "Oh, I'm going to drop Invincible right now, and this kid's going to go off the hook, right?" And I go, "Oh, yeah, and they just got the Invincible IP. And, it's like a card game you can play 4-on-4. It's like, use their powers, and it's really cool." And then he's like, "Oh, okay. And I'm like, "Yeah, and like it's Invincible and Walking Dead." And this kid just, like, his eyes like light up. And like, I'm talking like, he's like, "Walking Dead, they don't even have trading cards. They don't have anything. Like, I just want that. I just want to collect those." And it made me start to think, and I was like, wow, like, are we about to enter into something where it's like, for the longest time, our group was all about playing and players. And now, like, the collecting side is about to enter back in. And I mean, I'm sure a lot of those people will, proliferate into playing. But it was just really an amazing moment to see, like, and there's a mid-20s guys, like, he was just went nuts over The Walking Dead. And I was like, wow, you never know what IP is going to set somebody off to, like, collect or play or so on. And that's all we can hope. But again, hunting these beautiful 5 foils. Enough ranting, my friends. Let's see who wins this. Okay, I had to go to a bigger cup. That's how many people entered. So many people entering for this foil 5. I'm going to reach deep in here, but I don't waste time. And the grand winner, oh, that was almost two. That was almost two, but this one came out. I mean, I can't believe it happened, but the Overpower Prodigy, the young one himself. I guess this is my moment. I mean, I can't believe that actually occurred, but I'll give this moment in time and say that, the Overpower Prodigy recently just entered the podcast game as well. I believe it's under Overpower Prodigy, so go check him out. Keep it up, young man, and keep pushing out the videos. Everybody just loves Overpower content. So let me just write that in. Overpower Prodigy. I once was the Overpower Prodigy, and then I got old, but I'm still the greatest. All right, congratulations. Obviously, Andrew, just reach out to me on probably Discord's the best one to do it on. And at the end of the day, I would love to send that out to you and get that in your deck for your first modern tournament. I don't know if you actually have one. Again, I misquoted myself and I thought there was 3 times 750. There's actually only 250 packs times 3, so there's actually only 750 of those in the whole entire world, never to be reprinted. And I gave one away. So, I'm crazy. I'm crazy. Let's just keep doing this. Let's just keep having fun, I'm enjoying it. I'm a fan. I want you to really enjoy it. If I get access to some of these extra cards, I want to make sure I can get them out to whoever really wants them. So, big card, enjoy that and keep entering the contests, everybody. I'm really enjoying the decks that you're putting out there. I don't know if anybody, you should look back on the old podcasts in the comments section. People are putting up really amazing decks. Some of them even going into detail as to like why they're playing them, the events, the angles they're going at. So, make sure you check those comments out as well. And again, keep entering in the contest. So let's really get this show started. And of course, how do we do that? Overpower, overpower. Overpower news. You got cards? I got cards. I don't have cards. That was a rude joke. Okay, I won't ever do that to you again, audience. I try to convey some trust between us. Okay, I don't have any cards either. However, this is what I'm gonna say. Cards have been shipped. Cards have been shipped. I can't explain how. Let's just maybe say I have a mole at cardio itself. I don't want to get anybody in trouble. That may or may not. That is, figurative speech. Does that mean not real? That is not real speech for any lawyers out there. I have a mole, and the cards have been shipped. Now, I believe they're going out in increments. So, I don't know how many X per day are going out, but I know everything they're saying is true. Everything's been shipped. You may even see breaking episodes by tomorrow. People are all but like, Marcel, I didn't get a shipping notification. And it's like, I know. I didn't personally plan on getting a shipping notification. And I just thought it would come at home one day and it would just sort of be sitting there, with my right at my door. I believe that's the case here. Anticipation. It's Overpower Eve, my friends. Whether it be today, tomorrow, Monday, Tuesday. Cards arrive. It's break time. who's going to be the first to get their cards. I hope they don't break packs tomorrow on their podcast themselves. I would find that very unique. We'll say, to leave the word at that. I hope you all record yourselves opening. I'll watch. I'm sick. I got OP problems. What would you watch, though, if my cards came tomorrow? Would you watch the GOAT breaking packs or the Town Hall? I don't know. I'd probably be watching the GOAT breaking packs. Oh, man. I just got a text message. They just pushed me to the back of the line. Oh, now I'm waiting weeks. Next up in the news, the NAOL season, Western Shootout, 1 week away. 25 plus people already registered for that. It is, again, looking like a green light. Everybody's going to at least get access to a base set of cards or cards themselves. They might be frantically opening and not enjoying like some of the rest of us who will just be slowly, crimping and popping those packs and going one by one. But I will say that everybody should, in fact, have their cards by the time of the tournament. Western Shootout, 1 week away, 25 plus people so far. May 9th and 10th, Carl Carofino for info. We will be talking early meta soon. The Overpower season is here, my friends. I'm talking, we are about to talk meta of Overpower. What won the tournament? What did second place get? What third? Was it a good idea? Oh, wow, what would be great in the next meta? These are all things we're going to discuss once this tournament comes and goes. Peace Bridge Memorial, June 20th, 21st, Canadian Championships, the only all-inclusive tournament. That means tournament, lunch, and dinner, drinks. I mean, you add a DJ, and we have a wedding here, in the first year of this tournament, Howard actually had a band on the Friday night. It was an extravaganza. This is not a tournament you want to miss. It'll also be the first tournament I'll be attending. Of course, contact Howard Bertrand for info on that, June 20th, 21st. I'm excited for people opening boxes. I'm excited for people posting videos. Somebody actually messaged me and was like, oh, wow, all these people are putting up podcasts, this and so on. And I was like, that's amazing. I actually do have problems. I watch every Overpower, everything that comes on, good, bad, and ugly. And I mean, if people are popping packs, I want to see those ultra rares. I want to see, those shiny cards. Now, I'm not going to lie. I may hesitate to watch a lot of openings until I get my own cards, just to add a little bit of je ne sais quoi, a little surprise of my own. But I'm assuming once I get through all of my own cards, and I will be opening everything. Once I get through all of that, I will probably watch every single one just to sort of see the ultra rares that pop around. Big news. LRG Regional number 1. July 18th, 19th. This is the first modern format $20,000 prize pool, friends. I'm assuming that's a $10,000 first prize. Here we go. The news. Cricket. And that's the news. Overpower. Overpower news. No location yet there, my friends. Cricket. So, tonight I wanted to cover a very quick rules with you. I always tell you, This is the tease episode. I keep popping these. You're never going to believe anything anymore by the end of this. This card will go out, though, Andrew. That I do assure you, okay? These promos and these giveaways, I assure you, do go out to the people that do win them. Those will not be teases. In the rules. Again, as obsessed as I am with Overpower, I cover a lot of the Discord, the Facebook. I check it all out. I'm always sort of surfing the web when it comes to Overpower so that I can give you the latest. And people seem to be talking about this rule a little bit harder than normal over the last little while. And it's very clear in the rule book. So I just want to go over the place where it is, what, why, where. It actually stemmed a much larger, bigger conversation that we're not going to get into at this moment. But very quickly, we're going to get into this rules. All right. So, heavily talked about on the Discord, as I said. I'm just going to touch on the basic root idea, redundancy. If you wish, you may open up your comprehensive rule guide. And if you do not recall, one of the Kickstarter goals was actually like a bound version of the rule book. I don't know how it's going to actually visually look. I don't know if you remember the little ones we used to get in the starter decks. In my mind, this one's like a big NBA playbook style. I mean, it was 7 years in the making. So eventually, when I talk about these rules, you can actually flip to the page in your beautiful done, Kickstarter exclusive, which I will of course show you when I receive mine. So you can turn to page 26 if you have it digitally at the moment, or if you decided to print it off, to read on the subway on the way to work. Page 26, and it's probably about midway down. Occasionally, one player may have two different cards available to play in a battle that seem redundant. Players may... Oh, it actually says that twice. I think it's absolutely one of the funniest. I don't know if the editor put that in as like a sly grammatical joke in the rule book, that it says seems redundant twice. Oh, that got me. For puns, that one got me. Okay. I'm going to start again. Sorry, that one got me. Occasionally, one player may have two different cards available to play in a battle that seem redundant. Players may always play both cards and trigger the effects again. Example. A player may have in hand both the any character special card Cataclysm Loki, which instructs the opponent to play open-handed for the remainder of battle, and Dr. Watson, Not a Bad Detective, which spies on two cards. Again, spies not in your glossary. It should say, reveals two cards. And Dr. Watson, Not a Bad Detective, which spies on two cards. While these effects may seem redundant, as in, you just opened up their hand and now you want to spy on their open hand, a player always has the option to play both cards, and both of these cards would trigger any effects that trigger from revealing or looking at cards in hand. Now, this is all it specifically mentions about redundancy. And it reflects very much on Baker Street, 221 Baker Street, Sherlock Holmes' home address. I don't know why he ever gave out his home address. That doesn't seem very smart at the end of the day, Sherlock. So 221 Baker Street works beautifully with this because obviously, you get gained effects when you play something like Loki, you reveal the open hand, and then you can say, okay, I choose that card and it's discarded. Now, this does get a bit more convoluted in certain situations, especially when you get into Legacy and you have more weirder reveals. Now, what they're trying to say is when you reveal the hand and Loki's open-handed, then you play the second card, you're actually re-revealing two cards at random. So in this particular scenario, I'm shocked they didn't actually go through the whole example. You would actually, um, is it? Yeah, it just spies on two cards. So I think it's at random. I don't actually have the Dr. Watson card up. I should have had that up. You know, but basically, let's just say even if it was those two random from, back in the old legacy, you would then re-pick up all your cards, shuffle, randomize, pick two out, and then you would re-reveal the two. Now, where it gets kind of convoluted is there's cards like now Mina Harker, this particular character must play any cards they can play open-handed. It would then get weird if you were playing then, the Henry Osborn card or the Green Goblin card, which then you're like, okay, now this character has to play open-handed and reveal all their things. Then you'd have to actually think like, okay, do I redraw these cards and put things down? But other than that, this is a pretty straightforward scenario of understanding that you can re-reveal already revealed cards. It just is a situation. It was actually already how Baker Street was being played in the tournament scene. So it's just one of those situations where it makes the home base a little bit better. Um, I know the conversation, pushed into Barsoom and its effects and its ability on how good it is. But I would say it's one of those things where it made the home base better, so it should stick. Now, I'm not going to preach whether the next one is better or the next one should be changed. All I know is from what I've heard from the guys at Overpower is they're trying to make cards usable, especially even in the legacy format with some of these home bases and even in the future sets. So I know that if cards don't work specifically well, they will either like put out a second version or try to like juice up, with maybe changing the way something is performed. So, really great thought in terms of, it works well, but I really just want people to understand the rules, especially when it comes to something along the lines of Baker Street. So, with that being said, uh, again, this was already how it was played. So I want to talk more about examples. Um, again, the trigger of Baker Street. ERB was pretty much built for Baker Street. It was built phenomenally for Baker Street. And that's pretty much all I have to say in regards to the rules for that. The redundancy effect, understanding that you can continuously play redundant effects. You could play two cannon fodders. You can play, to avoid universe, you can play all these sorts of redundancy effects. And again, it's always, of course, if the first one gets negated, the second one is still in play. And that's rules. So, what do I always say? You don't come here for the news. You come here for the knowledge. And today we are doing a topic that it seems I've insulted the intelligence of the level 8 ERB World Legends modern characters. And I think I had to circle back around because there's a few characters that really have this je ne sais quoi. Now, I think when the set first came out, everybody really thought ERB was just going to pop off and be this one scenario where okay, so oh, hold on 1 second. So let's just say this. Sorry, I just had to take care of some situation that was happening in the chat there. Apologies. When you're on live, and that's just the way things work. And sometimes you got to operate with what's happening. I'm always following the chat with you, my friends. I always want to make sure you are getting the best experience on my live cast. So, I'm here to make sure you get taken care of. So let's jump back into this topic. Let's really dive in. 8 intellect, Tentpoles, ERB, World Legends. Let's get to it. Sherlock Holmes. I don't know about you, but I've had an affinity for this character for a long time, personally in life. I think he's one of those characters that was almost missing from like the Marvel set. Like I feel like if he was in the old Marvel set, I would have just been like, "Oh no, I could vibe with that if Sherlock was back then." Threat level 19. What? What? Threat level 19. 2 1 per dex, 4 non-1 per dex. Brilliant deduction. 1 per deck. Is this the new negate? I think this is the best way you're going to get a negate, probably moving forward. But man, I'll take a 1 per deck full straight negate with an 8. Ed, this character was made for you, Ed. This character was made for you. You're giving me an 8 and a negate. Those are like in old school overpower, there used to be this joke rule that you needed an 8 and a negate. The same character has the 2 characteristics. Woo! This is what I'm talking about here. This character, he's going to be a tentpole with a real negate. Like, that is a huge card for a tentpole in your team. Just awesome. Like, look out Legacy and adding this low threat level intelligence character to some of those more high threat level intelligence 8s in Legacy. Wow. Modern, Dracula, Sherlock. I mean, people kind of just want to say no Sherlock right now. Like, obviously, when you think about Sherlock and Dracula, it's there. It's there. It's gonna be a deck. Like, Sherlock's there. He's really there. And 19, I can't get over this 19 threat level. Whew. Logical reasoning. And sorry, brilliant deduction. Negates the effect of any one special card played by opponent. 1 per deck. Boom. The big one. Right there. And we all know how negates got souped up in the game of Overpower. Logical reasoning. Negates the effect of one special card played by opponent. May only be played offensively. Marcel, didn't you just say he has a negate? I sure did. I just said he has another one. He has 2 negates? Overkill? I think not. More negates the merrier in my mind. I mean, offensive negates happen all day. All the time. Like, especially with Dracula metas, offensive negate is beautiful. Whew. If Drac metas happen, that already is going to be phenomenal there. Canceling out his, one man. Hello, Asclepion. Hello, Asclepion and Sherlock. Are you negating those hits off your permanent? Drawing a card? Oh, wow. Wow. Sherlock. Like, an offensive negate is nothing to sleep on. Oh, plus the event that makes them a defensive negate. Like Tarzan King of the Jungle. The power of Gunfall. Like those things all of a sudden are just defensive negate. Then you could have two negates in your hand with Sherlock Holmes. Wow. Like two negates, not only a negate and an 8, two negates and an 8. Come on. Who made this? 19 threat level. Did I say 19 threat level? Like, I know Sherlock Holmes has an unpredictable mind, but I didn't expect two negates. Unpredictable mind. Acts as a level 4 multi-power attack, may make one additional attack. One of the only real full multis, at least the 4 versions, AAs, in the whole set of ERB. It's worthy of 2 in my mind to put in your deck. It's worthy of it. I mean, it's been tested and true with Spawn, Magneto. These have been tried and true things that have happened in the past. These 4 multis are phenomenal. Like, they get negated. That's how good they are. In Legacy, they get negated all the time. And with so few multis now, especially in the power card era, 3, 4. 4 multi every hand. Okay, that's going over the top. But you pair someone like Sherlock up with another 8 intellect character, and then all of a sudden you get into something like a Battle of Wits card. Sherlock Holmes and target character may not attack for remainder of battle. Do you know how powerful those are going to be in Modern? You're not going to be blocking anything in Modern, first and foremost. Especially not specific special cards that hit a character. Unless you got your avoid 1 attack. Or you're shifting and hoping you can, mitigate the damage. You know how many times Colossus AX came out of my battle site and I just said sit on him and it won me round after round after round? And now you have an 8 character that also has this card. That is a hidden gem card for Sherlock. That's huge, especially if you have a second 8. Like, lockdowns will be big in Modern. Probability evaluation. I've always been tossed on this card. Most famously, the Reavers have it in Legacy. Sort through opponent's draw pile. Choose any one card and remove it from the game. Reshuffle draw pile. Normally, I'd say for an average character, this would be like a medium to a bust of an OPD. I was going to go in the last tournament and I was going to play Silver Samurai. He also has the same card. And I wasn't even going to play it. Now, when you get into a situation like this card, though, and you're in the Legacy format, and you want to get rid of events, you want to take care of, specific specials, and then you pair it up with something like a Baker Street. Of course, where Sherlock lives. He better operate well with Baker Street. You pair it up with something like that, and next thing you know, you're not just looking through and removing 1 card. You're looking through and you're removing 2 cards. Now you're like, 2 cards, that's good. Now, you get this early in the game, especially in something like Legacy, and you remove his 2 key events. You may have just changed the whole game. You get this in Modern, you go in and you remove his Reaper and Hades. He doesn't have those big boy cards anymore. All because Sherlock just said, I'm going to evaluate your deck, and probability is I'm going to take out your Reaper and Hades. I mean, you might even want to take out an event in Modern. I mean, there's no intellect icon for Venture. That's big. You might want to get rid of that in Modern.
Like, you could get rid of so many things. 2 events, 2 negates, Reaper's Hades. It's big. And then we got Irene Adler. I don't know who that is, but I look forward to playing Irene Adler at Players because this complements the Baker Street Sherlock combo and makes it almost Sherlock equals Baker. I don't know if that's almost a must, but like in my mind, Sherlock equals Baker. Acts as a level 5 energy attack. If successful, opponent must reveal hand and play open-handed for the remainder of battle. First off, it's offsuit goodness. Energy. You don't get that a lot in intellect. This is a border level god non-OPD. Now you're like, come on, it's a 5. It's not about the 5. It's about the fact that if you pair this obviously with Baker, how great is it obviously when it hits and you get to take a card away? But it's not about taking the card away. Because when you can play a game of Overpower and I look across the table and you have no cards hidden to me, I can turn around and calculate literally every move in that hand. Literally every move, I can calculate it out because I have all of the information and you don't. And here's a non-OPD that I can reveal that over and over. 2 negates. Lockdown card. Sherlock is stacked. Stacked. 19 points. One of only 2 19.8 stat characters in the whole ERB set. Do you know how much point saving means in ERB World Legend Moderns right now? And now I get an 8, 2 negates for 19 threat level. Wow. Wow. I think he's top tier, and he's going to anchor both Legacy and Modern decks alike for a long time. I should know. I was the only person in the last couple years to win a tournament with an intellect character. Or an intelligence character, as we call them now. Professor Moriarty, the man playing chess with Sherlock in my picture for the podcast. He has to be more of a threat level because he's the bad guy, obviously. 20 threat level, 3 and 3. 3-1 per decks, 3 non-1 per decks. I like that. I like that mix for characters. Especially if you can find 1 or 2 good non-1 per decks. 3 great 1 per decks. Ooh, that character can rock. Does Professor Moriarty cut it though? When looking at his special set, it's different. It's very different. But when you look deeply at his special set, I think there's something here. I think there's something to the Professor. And we're going to kind of get into it. 20 threat level, 3-1 per decks, 3 non-1 per decks. Let's talk about big card right away. Criminal Mastermind. So the biggest attack you can generally have in Overpower is an 11. And often 11s will come with negative effects. There are 10s out there that are just straights. And then there's cards like Criminal Mastermind. Opponent is -10 to venture total this battle. It's only negatable. So at the end of a round, everything's breaking down and it's the hand for the win and they go, okay, you need, an 8. And you just look across the table and they got that 1 to 9 avoid. And they go, game's over. And then you go, not when you're a criminal mastermind like me. -10 to venture total. I like it. I think it, when you look at his whole special breakdown, I think it's one of those cards that when you start thinking about him more in like a combo style of deck or a supporting character, not the oomph style, I think there's something really to Moriarty here. That -10 goes to the astral plane. So even if he dies, it sticks around. Things like that, little tiny things like that, are what going to set you apart from the player across from you who doesn't watch this podcast. Understanding the nuances, the little new tricks in the game of Overpower is what is going to take you to the top of the mountain. That's a big venture swing, -10 to venture total. Like, I know it's not a hit, but that's big. That's a big round. You're betting on that round. The card that I think is going to make Professor Moriarty a meta possibility is Mathematical Genius. This card is probably one of the better overall combo cards in the whole ERB set. Look at the top 6 cards of the draw pile and choose any one card. Put chosen card in hand. May not be a duplicate. Reshuffle draw pile. But then you get to put Mathematical Genius on top of the draw pile again. Do you know how advantageous that is? Every single round after that, I get to look at the top 6 cards and choose the best one that I want. That includes Power Pack. If we go to Power Pack and I have Mathematical Genius on top, I am mathematically getting the better Power Pack hand than you because I'm a genius. I think a card like this is maybe even going to be more combo-y, if that's a word, in Legacy because you can DS for it quickly, being a 1 per deck, and getting access to it quickly. It's a great 1 per deck. Like, early game, it's almost a must negate for your opponent. Or it's a huge advantage. Like, this is a dangerous card if you see this played by your opponent early in the game. Like, you know he's consistently going to keep going through, let alone the any hero that lets you do that on top of it. Legacy, could we see like a Spider-Man Moriarty style deck? Could that be a thing? Maybe. The Napoleon of Crime. 8 possible avoids in your hand. 8 possible Guardian Angels. 8 possible Freyas you could have with Napoleon of Crime. 8 avoids. I don't know if you watch a lot of Overpower old videos, but there's a famous game where I played a young man named Ricky. And he was playing a Jubilee Beyonder deck, and I had to just consistently get through, 5 to 6 avoids per hand. Imagine if you had 8 avoids. And I just talked about that big -10 too. Like, these are venture for the win type of cards if you get them in the right situations. Like, it seems crazy that you would get all 8. But imagine even if you just had a 5, 6, 7, 8. That's 4 Freyas in your hand. 4 Freyas for any character. 4 full avoids. That's a hidden gem Team D in the intellect or intelligence stat. Hidden gem team defense there. And I mean, if he's the Napoleon of Crime, I mean, he's running a complex criminal scheme. And this non-1 per deck, the synergy of the character And, we talk about this in the last couple episodes. The synergy of seeing cards like this in a character in the new builds makes me excited for what they're going to build, especially in new sets to come. Complex Criminal Scheme acts as a level 3 brute force or intelligence multi-power attack. Does not count towards the venture total. But if defended, Professor Moriarty may search his draw pile or dead pile for mathematical genius and play it immediately. Oh, so you finally negated my mathematical genius where I was gaining all that advantage? Okay, well, here's a complex criminal scheme. You're just going to let it hit your character? Okay, here's a complex criminal scheme for the kill mid-game. Here's a complex criminal scheme, early game. Oh, you just want to let that 3 hit? So I'm putting even more KO pressure on you? Or what? You're going to defend it and let me go into my draw pile and go get mathematical genius? Ooh, I feel like a mathematical genius because I'm going to put like 20 of those complex criminal schemes. I'm going to have the most complex criminal scheme deck out. Not actually going to do that. But, you could easily put like, 1, 2, 3, maybe even 4 if you're trying to fetch that card fast for combo purposes. I love the synergy that's working with Moriarty here. Especially now, here's where Moriarty, I think, gets to that slower, early, MOE Dracula level. I would have loved his next card to have been just maybe something a little bit more oomphy, a little bit more speedy. But this one, I think, is where the combo of Moriarty comes into play. And I think somebody will find and abuse, and maybe not abuse, but use this to great purpose. And that's future plans. Play when either player concedes battle. Professor Moriarty's team may take 3 cards from hand and put them on the top of the draw pile. Maybe played during the venture phase. Now, it's unique that there's new cards that can actually be played during venture phase or event phase. It's actually a new mechanism that's in ERB. So keep a lookout for those style of cards because they're played in unique phases of the game where a lot of other cards aren't played. This one is unique because I could see its purpose of, I got Reaper, Hades, things I can't place. And, you're 1 and running. I can only bet 3. How powerful would that be if you could just be like, okay, I'm going to put back my -10, my Reaper, and this teamwork for next round. That would be powerful to know the top 3 cards, especially if you already got Mathematical Genius in there too, as the 4th card. You already know 4 of your next 8 cards. See, you could create some stuff there. You could create power hands. You could create situations where you, when getting this card, can then potentially, push certain cards and create these power dynamics for your own team. It's an interesting one. I think that goes on my must test type of special. I mean, maybe if you really have a combo, it would really work. What do you guys all think about that card? Future Plans had me. I already don't necessarily like non-venture cards, and Future Plans was one of those that, again, I don't mind most of these ERB characters having one duddy style card because they're powerhouses compared to Legacy. Tell me what you all think. And lastly, Tactical Fighter. I was so happy when I saw this for Moriarty because it's almost the perfect card that he needs. Acts as a level 5 combat attack. Professor Moriarty may play 1 additional special card. They gave this card to Dracula as well, who was a slower style character. These cards are situations where you can just speed up these slower style characters. Not only could you get a nice 1-2 punch with complex criminal scheme, 5 combat, and then good luck blocking that 3 as the next hit if you took the 5. You're not going to want to take it. You're going to definitely want to block it. You're going to want 2 hits on your character. No, guess what? Just got my mathematical genius back because you couldn't block it. Like, it's a nice color for a character like that, too. And the number even complements. And it just complements his whole special stack already. I do agree, Mage's Musings. Future Plans has that possibility that, the amount of times my opponent runs when I have these fantastic cards. But I think about the timing. And I just wonder if the timing will be there or not be there. I mean, if I drew Future Plans and, one of my last 2 hands, I'd be incredibly upset. If I drew Tactical Fighter, one of my last 2 hands, I wouldn't be that upset. Professor Moriarty is there. There's something there. I feel he's more of a combo overall style character, but for threat level 20. And things like mathematical genius and a -10. Like Moriarty, I mean, in one hand alone, he could produce you 18 points of venture. Just him. That's worth thinking about. I thought I'd change it up for the last one here as we finish off the 3-part series. Next week, I'm actually going to do almost a different show format style and change it up and do something very completely different. So I thought for the last character, I would change it up and do something very completely different. Very much a tentpole. Now everybody's like, well, you're talking about the 8 intelligence character, so you're about to talk about Dracula, right? I am not. Dracula will be a meta. Dracula will be out there. I'm about to talk about the Time Traveler. No, you're like, what? How is the Time Traveler an 8 intelligence tentpole? Well, guess what? He may play level 7 and 8 intelligence power cards defensively. Remind you of someone? Maybe a very underused Reyes from Legacy. We're talking 16 threat level here. 16 threat level. I don't even have that many likes on this podcast. Smash that like button if you've been enjoying this so far. Smash that like button. Takes you a second. 16 threat level for the Time Traveler. Inherent ability, you can play those 7 and 8 intellects defensively. Like, you need these points in Modern. You need these points in Modern. You do somebody like the Time Traveler and you can get somewhere in the range of getting yourself to a Drax Armory or, to a Spartan training. Woo! Like, these are big things that you can do, and 16 threat level gets you there. Now, don't just sleep on him, though. We're going to get into potential why he could even be in Legacy. Like, he could even be a Legacy mainstay here, the Time Traveler. Like, I'm talking from a mile away, this guy's attacking you. If you noticed in the picture for the podcast, the 2 boys are playing chess, and me and the Time Traveler are coming out of his space portal, time portal. Because from a mile away, this guy can do things to you. Opponent must discard 1 placed card from each of opponent's frontline characters. The opponent gets to choose. Wow. Like, huge game changer card on its own. Just that there, have a good day, 16 points, that's all I need. Let that come up before you die and change the game. You time that out right, like watch out. Watch out what that card can do. That card does things you're not even grasping because it doesn't give you just the card advantage in that hand. One of the big things about, those big cards like Absorb Sound is it got the placed cards. People hold these placed cards to hold advantage against you round to round to round. And the time traveler says, get rid of 3 of those. Whew. Pair them up with Green Goblin, get rid of another 3. Get rid of 6 placed cards. I mean, these are things. Like, that's a card. That's a game changer card. Oh, and it's only negatable. Can't do anything unless you got a negate. Better have a negate. You don't have a negate? Get rid of 3 cards. Like, that's monster card advantage. Alone, that makes him playable. I mean, this time traveler, he has knowledge of tomorrow. Not just today. He knows what you're thinking. He knows where you're going to be. He's got knowledge of you tomorrow. For remainder of game, once per game, time traveler's team may discard 1 intelligence power card to add 10 to venture total that battle. Once this venture is added, this card may not be negated and is discarded at the end of the battle. Didn't we just talk about how big 10 venture is? Now I get it. It's costing you 2 cards to get there. But the possibility of playing this card and then playing the 10 when it's advantageous to you and not just having like a -10 sitting on your character and holding up that special slot, that's advantageous. That's a bigger card than people are thinking. You throw that out into the astral plane round 1, you got a ticking time bomb that you can just explode anytime you want. It's deceptively good. It's all about the timing with that card, though. Could be a great pairing with Moriarty. -20 to venture. That's bet big material right there. Bet big material. I think it needs testing. Needs testing. When we get these cards, we will all be testing, playing, talking. Futuristic phaser. Set the phaser to stun. The futuristic phaser. This guy's pulling out something. You don't even know what it is. It's shaped weird. And he's about to blast you with it. It acts as a level 6 energy attack. If target character's energy grid is 7 or greater, it acts as a level 8 energy attack instead. Should we just call this the anti-Ra phaser? Anti-Ra phaser, activate 8 in your face. Like, that's even big if it's even against a normal character. 6 energy. Like, we were just about, I haven't even got into really why he's going to be great in Legacy yet, but, like, Legacy is energy dominant. It is just the way it is. I mean, I know Strength's kind of been coming on strong the last year or so, but energy is Legacy. This is 8 against these characters. Huge, huge. 16 threat level. Now, this is another 6-8 example, or 4-8, or whatever you want to say. My question is Do I need D&D dice now to be like marking cards, whether things are sixes, eights, fours, or eights? I guess in the old game you didn't need to. In this one, I probably don't as well. You would just assign knowing the grid level. I'll already be gone. Avoid one attack. At first, I was like, this is a waste of a card for this character. And then I thought about it and I said, you know what? This avoid one attack actually has something to it. And it plays in to one of his other specials, the Tomorrow Doctor, where the time traveler may remove one hit from teammates' hits to current battle or permanent record. Asclepion friendly much? You slam that avoid down on him. Nobody's going that way. All of a sudden, those teammate removes are just huge. And it's a half D defensive style card. I really wish they gave him a real defensive card. I would have loved something, even a small 1-4 or something would have been fantastic for him. You do have to remember it's only for teammate. But in Legacy, that's going to be great. You're going to be pairing him up with monsters. Monsters. And then, of course, he's got the Harbinger's Warning. And this is the card that I think sets him apart from everybody in Legacy ERB, period. This is the card that makes this character something to talk about. Now, we always talk about Legacy and, how powerful events are, kill events, this, so on. And, we just talked about even, with Sherlock trying to mitigate that by pulling cards out of their deck with their 1 per deck. Harbinger's Warning negates the effect of one of opponent's event cards as it's being played. This card does not take up a placing slot when placed. Huge. That last part, huge. That almost like counters that it's not a venture style card. I can have that sitting there placed and we can sit there and have 2 specials on somebody finally and not, have one of those, old man moments where I just placed 2 specials on somebody. This is illegal, 2 specials on somebody. And you get to play this like as the event's being played. This is big. This is a big card. Like, you're stopping your opponent's like nuclear bombs with a special. No character other than like Bishop and some random shenanigans ever even tried to do something like this. And this one's actually playable. This one's real deal. Now, again, you have to understand it's also viable for modern. Like, we just talked about an event that no intellect icons count towards venture. Well, this guy's a 6, 7, 8 in intellect or intelligence. Like, it'd be smart to take that out of some or negate that when that comes up. Great call, John. No activators? No, thank you. Have a very, very pleasant day. Oh, you're trying to play Ed Kowalski against me? No intellect icon may be played for the remainder of battle? No, thank you. I was warned about that by the Harbinger. Like, this card, it's a big card. It doesn't, the fact that it doesn't take up a placing slot, wow. I mean, you could even bury that on your home base. And it doesn't even take up a placing slot there either. Great card here. This makes this guy something different. And I think you're going to see the Time Traveler as an 8 intelligence tentpole in both modern and mixed legacy. I think he's going to be a great pseudo second 8. And again, don't think he won't be in modern. You know, you need those points in modern. You need those points in modern. Plus, he still holds his own. You know, he's using 7s and 8s as defense. And again, it's already been ruled that he can use the 7 and the 8 any power. He's got defense for days. I mean, in a power pack, he's still there. He's holding on. I'm sorry. I insulted the intelligence of the 8 intelligence tentpoles of ERB World Legends. I not only think they're going to be phenomenal in modern, I think they're going to have a place in mixed legacy because of their threat level counts. And we didn't even talk about Big Dracula. Like Dracula Modern is there, or Dracula Modern meta will be there. Be ready for it. Have a negate in hand. Maybe 2 from Sherlock. Well, that's the episode tonight. I hope you all wake up to a package from Cardio tomorrow. Film it. Show it. I want to see your ultra rare foils. So keep thinking overpower, deck building, and getting to the top of the overpower mountain. I am the OP Goat. Good night.